When I first met Sakura Hagiwara, it was when I was at a Berserk show, and when I first saw her, I was like, man, there's some serious potential here. And if anybody, and people who know my track record and see it in virtual wrestling, I have an eye for talent. So I spoke with people at Berserk, signed her and a couple other people to a deal to bring them to SEA, and to make things easier for them, I also put Berserk on a bigger platform, and people from SEA and from Berserk could cross over, and Berserk was able to air on SEA, which was beneficial and worked out for both parties. When Sakura came to SEA, it felt like she was like a fish out of water, extremely nervous. But then again, that could happen to anybody who comes to SEA. You know what I mean? It's a who's who of different people. And her very first match was against Sapphire. Sapphire was going to be facing an unknown opponent, and she got so cocky she was willing to defend the SEA Women's Championship. So Sapphire showing that during that match, Sapphire, pretty much showing her ego, not really going for the kill, led to that awesome moment when Sakura went for when Sakura shockingly defeated Sapphire. And if you see most of the commercials for like VWU and for the Video Game Wrestling Network, that iconic moment when Sakura went for the corkscrew splash, the Phoenix Splash, that is where pretty much where that came from. And pretty much after she won the Women's Championship, she would be the first person in the history of SCA to hold that title for 2 years. And during that 2 years, she was pretty much showing why she was proclaiming herself to be the strongest in the world. But things kind of went into a crossroads when midway through the title reign, Jury Sanada and Elena Miyazawa would appear.
The thing that I admire most about Sakura Hagiwara is her determination. She goes out there every night like she has something to prove, because she feels deep down that she does have something. She's had the success in DCA, that she's had the success in SCA, that she had this success as a pop idol. Yet, you have these people, you have this vocal minority, and that's what it is. It's a vocal minority that is always going to think, hey, you're not good enough. You don't belong here. And I think that Sakura has done all that she can to prove that she very much belongs, in the conversation of being the best in the world today as far as virtual wrestling is concerned. But, according to this vocal minority, it's like, you can win like 10 titles, 20 titles, 25, 30, 50 titles, whatever. It's like, you're this trash wrestler from this trash anime, that was in a trash pop band, and you're only here because of your looks and whatever else you did to get these opportunities. It's like you didn't earn it, and I think that's a shame because Sakura's going to do her damnedest to convince that vocal minority that you're absolutely wrong about me. And here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about those group of fans. They're never going to change. They're never going to change their opinion about it.
I have been a part of CAW, virtual wrestling, whatever you want to call it, for 12 going on to 13 years. And I've seen a lot of leagues and their superstars come and go. Some of them have succeeded, obviously, and others have failed and simply have not been brought back. And when I look at somebody like Sakura Hagiwara, I was aware of the name around 5 to 6 years ago. She had been wrestling with SCA here in the mainstream sense, and she had also been working with the Japanese virtual wrestling circuit. I had been somewhat of a fan of Sakura for quite some time. I liked her tenacity. I liked the way that she composed herself in the ring. I liked that she was able to develop her in-ring skills in a short amount of time. Being able to train with Misaki Toyota and Jackal Tojo. When you have trainers like that, they will really benefit you tenfold. It was around, I believe, 2014, 2015, when SCA were holding one of their Climax tournaments that Mr. Smith, general manager of Excel, and I personally were in attendance with Joseph Matos, the owner of SCA, to kind of scout and look into some potential prospects for the Glamrex division, which was really starting to gain steam. And we saw a lot of talents there that we took interest in. Obviously, the likes of Mighty Yukiko, Toshimi Minami, Jury Sanada, obviously, and then Sakura Hagiwara was definitely one of them that were on our list. Eventually, we went with Mighty Yukiko, and then later on, Jury Sanada. Mighty Yukiko was really like the ace in her respective league over there in Japan at the time, and Jury Sanada had been working for almost a decade at that point, and I felt that she would be somebody that would really represent what we were trying to do with the Glamrex division. Sakura Hagiwara is very talented. Nobody will take away from that. Nobody will take away from her exceptional talent. However, I do see the faults in her, and I see the reason why she's struggling right now. The simple fact of the matter is that Sakura Hagiwara has a lack of self-esteem on her. And I know that's going to be something for a lot of Sakura fans to digest, but the simple fact of the matter is that Sakura tends to doubt herself way too much.
I think that does get to her a little bit. She's not going to say it, I don't think. I mean, it does get to her a little bit. And maybe that's, the chip on the shoulder, because maybe that's the chip on the shoulder that she has. And some of the very best in the world, they always have to have that chip on their shoulder, that thing that motivates them. And I think that is what is motivating Sakura, to change the minds of these people that are like never gonna have a different opinion about it. They all they want to be is be proven right. And the only way they'll be proven right is like if she fails over and over and over again.
On Sakura's feud with Jury Sanada, it's a very unique, very interesting feud. There's a lot of layers to it. Because remember, you have two different sides of life kind of battling it out here. From Jury's, if I can probably try to see things from Jury's perspective, Jury considers Sakura an outsider. You know what I mean? An idol, someone who was never a wrestler to begin with, who only became a wrestler just for selfish circumstances, in her eyes. And I don't know if Jury respects Sakura, because Jury is very difficult sometimes to read, and sometimes very difficult to understand. Jury, I remember Sakura saying that Jury had it all. Well, true, she did at one point, but Jury walked away. She could have been the champion. She could have been the ace of Shangri-La. She could have surpassed her mentor, Jackal Tojo. But she walked away, and to this day, we don't know, and Jury will probably never tell anyone why she up and retired so young. And formed the Miyabi Gym and went at war with Berserk. But, but with Sakura's circumstances, I think Sakura's trying to get Jury's respect. Either trying to get Jury's respect or get Jury to acknowledge her. But like I said, these are just theories. I'm just, speculating right now. But she's not going after Jury for no reason. And I feel that, there's probably maybe a deeper meaning, like a deeper connection. For all I know, it could also be maybe because of Sakura's relationship with Misaki. Misaki is her mentor. Misaki was an idol as well before she became a wrestler. And Misaki could never truly defeat Jury either. So, you can see the symbolism there. And to make things even more complicated, when she's going into that ECW tournament, Elena Miyazawa, the successor of Jury Sanada, is also in that tournament. So I feel that Sakura is in a situation where she's having problems figuring out who she really is, and it's eating away at her repeatedly. And unless she finds a way to get out of it, she will never truly be able to defeat Jury or even defeat her own demons.
In this business, in this industry, in this community that we call CAW and or virtual wrestling, you can't allow that to be the deciding factor of whether you succeed or fail. Sakura has all the essentials. She has the 5 tools, if you need, that we call it in wrestling, whether it's virtual or pro. But she's always missing something that makes her an intangible part of any league. She calls herself the new standard, and I have no qualms about that. I will not argue that with her. She truly is one of the best wrestlers worldwide in CAW. But her weaknesses tend to be very strong, and they can undermine her at every single point necessary. Sakura Hagiwara is going to be a part of the 2018 Glamour X Element Tournament that's going on this year. And a lot of people are expecting her to go very far. A lot of people have a lot of invested interest in her. A lot of people expect her to head to the finals, if not win the whole thing and become the first ever Element champion. But I would just advise Sakura that in her current state right now, there's a lot of competition within that tournament that will not allow you to fail like you have been recently. You've got the likes of Toshimi Minami, one of your co-workers, one of your equals back in the Japanese circuit. Elena Miyazawa, someone that you've grown up with, someone that you've been an idol with in Japan and therefore transitioned into wrestling. She's going to be there as well. She's going to look to try to best you because that's all she's been trying to do throughout her entire career. And then I don't even have to mention the likes of Laura Masuda, Izetta, Bayonetta, Balalaka, Dark Magician Girl, Mikasa Ackerman, Annie Leonhardt, legends like Lina Inverse, Maya Shiranu, Motoko Kusanagi. There's a lot of elite talent in this tournament that is just going to force her to be at her absolute best, because if there's one mistake she makes in this tournament, it'll be her last, and she'll be eliminated just as soon as she comes in.
I think the whole thing, with Jury Sanada, Reiko Hinamoto, I think it's part of having that something to prove. It's like it's like that expression that Brian Hennigan always likes to use. You first day in the prison yard, find the biggest dog and you punch that dog right in the mouth. And I think that's what Sakura did when she challenged Reiko. When Jury Sanada came in and Sakura said, "Hey, you're intruding in my territory now. This is my time. Your time is past. Your time is over. This isn't about you right now." And I think Sakura got in a little bit over her head. I think. There's an old saying: don't let a win get to your head, and you don't get a loss to your heart. I think Sakura took that loss to Reiko Higemaru particularly, and I can't blame her. I mean, there was the one match she practically begged for that match for like a year. She wanted to see where she was. She wanted to know if she was good enough, and she nearly had to lose everything just to get that one opportunity she always wanted. And the fact that that one night where literally everything was on the line, Reiko ended up beating her. I think that drove Sakura to the state that she's into that crossroads, if you will. Like, Sakura's probably realizing now, I gotta get it together. I gotta find out who I am, because what I've done before has gotten me the success. It's gotten me the freedom title. It's gotten me the Wildcats title. It's gotten me the SCA Women's title. But to go further than that, to go into that next level, what I'm doing now isn't going to work anymore. And just gotta find. And I think this thing only Sakura can for herself. Just gotta find out what will work for her going forward.
I think Sakura has a lot of passion in what she does. And yet I look at her, she's going to go up against Laura Croft one-on-one in the near future. And Laura Croft is a staple in virtual women's wrestling. She is one of the pillars of what women's wrestling is in CAW. She's one of those people that has really come across in a lot of strides. She was a part of No DQ, former SAW champion, current CCL tag team champion. It's interesting to see that Laura Croft still is relevant in CAW and still does what she needs to do. And Sakura, I think she needs to not undermine that, let alone underestimate it. If Sakura lets herself get the better of her, she's going to lose against Laura Croft. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm not trying to be contrarian. I'm just telling you the reality of what I'm looking at here. As someone that's been doing this for a decade over now, I'm just telling you what I see. And what I see is Sakura, a talent that is letting her own worries get the best of her to where it can lead her to a path that she may not be able to escape from.
I think the match with Laura Croft is going to be a true test as to where Sakura is and where Sakura can go. Laura Croft is the first woman to compete in No DQ CAW. She's actually the only woman to compete in No DQ CAW. I mean, she's been all over the world. She's been in SCW. She's been in CCL. She's been in BWF. She's been in a few other leagues that are not exactly coming to me at the moment for whatever reason. And if Sakura, even if she doesn't win, I think it would be in her in her best interest to have a show-stealing performance, if you will, to give it absolutely everything you have to give. Because Lara Croft is not going to lay down for her. She's been around for far too long. She's won so many titles. She's pretty much done everything that there is to do in the world of virtual wrestling.
What I would tell Sakura is fight whatever internal demons that you're going through, fight whatever doubts that you have inside, and be the best Sakura Hagiwara we all know you can be. Because if you're not the best Sakura we know you can be, then why bother? I think Sakura is going to go down as a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think Sakura is going to go down as one of the best that we've ever seen in this industry. But I also do feel that if she allows herself to let her inner demons consume her, we're going to look back at her career not as a success story, but a cautionary tale of what happens when someone so great can fall just as great. I hope Sakura is successful, and I hope she does well. If she is, will remain to be seen.
I think people are foolish to say, hey, if you go heel, or if you join the Rebels, like, all the problems will be solved. No, it's not. Absolutely not true. Let's say she joins the Rebels tomorrow. That loss to Reiko isn't going to go away. Her losing the Wildcats title, that's not going to go away. Like, her issues with Jury, her issues with Reiko, her issues with Carmen Cortez from a few months back, that's not going to go away. Is it going to make her... Is it going to make her better going forward? Probably not. I don't think so. You think, the change of scenery is, change of scenery, change of behavior is going to do you good, but, if you go that route, you're going to find out that, the grass isn't always greener. You don't have to sell yourself out. You don't have to sell your soul to get back to a place that you once were, or to get to a higher level. That's just a false way of thinking to me. And time again, we've seen wrestlers all over the world, no matter what the promotion, go down this route. And in the short term, maybe they'll get that success, but in the long term, it's like, what have I done? And I'm hoping like hell Sakura doesn't go that route. She doesn't go that route where she, has to sell herself out, if you will, sell her soul to get back to where she was, or to get to a higher plane than before.